And the Russians, who were the enemy at that time, had really good airplanes. So we took a lot of combat losses. And so Top Gun was a spinoff of that. The guys that came back said, we don't really know how to fly this Phantom against these little nimble, tight turning airplanes. We need to have a school, like a graduate school, on how to do that. So that became Top Gun. And the first instructors were all kind of aces. They'd had combat experience. And in fact, when you walked into their hangar down the stairway, they had all these MiG silhouettes with, the dates and who had shot those down. There was a whole wall of them. So these guys were pretty impressive. And so Top Gun was really a kind of a master's degree in air combat maneuvering. So the Navy's philosophy was we couldn't train everybody that way. It was too expensive. So after I transitioned, I made a first cruise in the Phantom and then came back and transitioned to the F14 at Miramar. And we were waiting to go on our next deployment. I was in VF 111, the Sundowners, the squadron from World War II.
Okay.
And we were waiting to go in there. So they said, well, we're going to take a crew and send it to Top Gun. And I was selected to go do that. And it's about a 6 or 8 week course of pretty detailed day to day, how to tactically maneuver your airplane. Now, in this case, it was an F-14, but it was against these adversary airplanes that simulated the threat airplanes. There was the A4, F5s, F-16s that played aggressors and simulated. So you learn kind of the fine arts of how to do that. So then the idea was that when you went back to your squadron, you were going to be the tactical kind of lead for all those pilots that were
had not
been able to go.
Okay.
And we had training exercises to work up the squadron through those kinds of training prior to each deployment. And Top Gun graduates were sort of the guys that were, not that we were any smarter than anybody else, but we'd had the training, so we were involved in the training of them.